there you are, YouTube. So I am watching this Netflix docuseries, I guess you would call it, called This Is Pop. I'm only 3 episodes in, but so far I am really enjoying it. Basically, it's about the history of pop music, but not told in a chronological way. You know, it's not starting at the very beginning going to today or anything like that. I actually haven't even looked at how many episodes there are. I'm only 3 episodes in. The first episode talks about Boyz II Men and their unique position in pop music and how, I guess, like what followed after them, what sort of separated off of what they were doing, the roots from where they came from, all of this, and they really are a very unique band group of people in, I guess, pop music when you consider everything that was surrounding them and how they were sort of like taking reference from older groups, and what was going on during the time period when they were big really wasn't happening anywhere else. It was just them. They were sort of on their own, which sort of allowed them to hit the charts like nobody had before. Like these records that Elvis held on to for many years, they were breaking them after one after another, and it was just fantastic. So like I grew up with them when I was, young and in grade school, and it just was, you knew about them, you heard about them all the time, you were hearing them on the radio, and they were awesome, they were great, loved listening to their music. But then music shifts in and music shifted in a large, very different way. So it was kind of like their style really didn't necessarily have a route to go to after a while. So that was kind of interesting to learn as well. But so that was the first episode. The second episode was all about auto-tune and Cher using auto-tune. It talked about the developer of auto-tune, but the majority of that episode was surrounded by was about TPain and sort of how he found auto-tune, which I thought was an amazing story, because I just assumed he went to a studio and they're like, hey, we're gonna use something called auto-tune, what do you think? But his search for it is fascinating. I loved learning about that and seeing some old footage of him basically looking for this program, like how can I find a way to make this sound, how can I find a way to make this sound, it sounds so unique. And he first heard it in, or maybe he first heard it with Cher, but it was a Jennifer Lopez song, where he heard it and he's like, I need to learn this, I gotta use it in my music. And I don't know, I just found his episode very heartwarming and tug at the heartstrings, because he came out with this great new style, but then people started thinking it was like a gimmick and it was like overused, and people were saying that he destroyed music, and it was really affecting him, kind of hurting him. And this episode gets into him sort of finding acceptance for what he had done to change music, sort of create or adapt this tool that had existed but very few people were using in the way that he used it, and sort of turn it into this sensation. And it had a moment, it had 4 years of being in almost every song you heard. Every song was featuring T-Pain. So I don't know, I just thought it was really great to see in his episode the evolution of sort of his life and how he felt about it. It was like, I gotta find this, I gotta use this is gonna be amazing, it's gonna sound different, it's gonna set me apart from everybody else that's making music out there. And then he uses it, everybody, maybe not everybody, I don't know, it was big, people loved it, but then everybody started thinking it was overused or they didn't like it. And then basically, I think he just sort of like understood, okay, sure, a lot of people don't like this, and it does hurt to hear that, but he carved out a section of pop music that everybody can point to him, like from here on out. I mean, in my mind, he created like music history, and I'm very glad that he had this episode, like shining a light on everything he did, because it was just, I mean, it was everywhere. I think this was kind of like when I was in graduate school. TPain was everywhere, and I guess undergraduate too, but college was featuring TPain. It was like when I was in high school was featuring Timberland, but in college it was featuring TPain. It was a fun time. And then the third episode, which I watched, was the final episode for me, because I haven't finished the series yet, was all about Sweden and how they have made their mark in pop music through not only musicians like or bands like Abba, but how they went on to sort of becoming great, not just Abba, but like Sweden, people involved in music in Sweden, becoming these amazing, great songwriters and producers of music. It all sort of started with Sweden sending Swedes to America to make it big in music, and ABBA was sort of an example of that, and Roxette, Ace of Base. But then they were like, wait a second, how about, and I could be getting the order wrong, how about we bring American acts to us, record stuff with them, and then send it back, and then basically we are the writers and producers of this American, music that's happening. So people like Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys, etc., etc. Lots more names could be attached to that list. And then, they all blew up, and it was huge. And now, I guess what's going on, according to the documentary, is rather than bringing the talent to Sweden, the other side of talent, the producers and writers are now being shipped to LA to work with the singers, the performers. So I don't know, it was very interesting. I'm really enjoying this docu-series. If you have an interest in music or just pop culture in general, because I feel like I don't have that much of an interest in music anymore. I lost a lot of it in college just because I was super busy and I couldn't keep up with what was going on. But a lot of this stuff, I do remember from when I was younger. Before then, like right now, I have no clue what's going on in music. But this was kind of a great thing to see all these like historical moments that I do remember. Just, I don't know, being so well told through this docuseries. So I'm excited to see the episodes that are ahead, and definitely recommend it. And perhaps I should see you. Sorry, that is not how I close this. Perhaps I'll see you tomorrow. Perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Peer Hangout. Why couldn't I get that right?